There is an undisputed king of the modern movie musical, and I want to talk about him right now. And not only is he the king of the musical, he might also be actually the filmmaker most responsible for keeping the art and style, but also the spirit of the musical alive in cinema. That man is Spike Lee. Now, there are a ton of examples throughout his career of his love for the musical, but let's get a few things out of the way first. I am not talking about his work directing actual music videos, which, by the way, he has directed over 50 of. Now, I can't swear to this, but 50 music videos has to be a record for the number of music videos made by a popular, successful, multi-award winning feature film director of his level and acclaim and reputation. And these are not obscure artists either. This list is long and astounding. I would have to take a very deep breath just to get through this first pass of the greatest hits. Miles Davis, Branford Marsalis, Anita Baker, Public Enemy, Tracy Chapman, Stevie Wonder, Prince, Arrested Development, Naughty by Nature, Michael Jackson, Luciano Pavarotti, Pharrell Williams, Eminem, and The Killers. But as impressive as that list is, the music videos are not what makes him the king of the musicals. It's also not the adaptations of staged musical performances that he made. He directed the adaptation of the Broadway show Passing Strange in 2009, a musical that, among other things, introduced most of the world to Coleman Domingo in a phenomenal, unhinged, go-for-broke performance. Now, Lee also directed David Byrne's American Utopia, which is a documentary/concert film that chronicled Byrne's 2019 album and tour. Both fantastic movies, both powerfully driven by music, but also both equally visions of other creators. So those don't make him that musical king, and neither do his stunning musical sequences in his documentary, When the Levees Broke. Among other moments capturing the beauty, vibrancy, and tragedy of life in post-Katrina New Orleans, Lee captured a visually and sonically powerful jazz funeral march, a long-standing tradition of brass musicians recruited by the social aid and pleasure clubs to musically celebrate the deceased, while a second line of people follow along to enjoy the music. Now, Lee perfectly captured the tradition in all of its complicated emotion. But again, this isn't what makes him the musical king. And I'm also not referring to other moments of musical greatness in his films that sort of grow organically from a story point. Things like the drum circle sequence from Get on the Bus, or the sequences of congregants that are singing hymns and gospel songs in church. Scenes from films like Red Hook Summer, The Sweet Blood of Jesus. No, I am talking about the fact that in a nearly 40-year career, Spike Lee has had 10 feature films with clearly defined musical sequences in them. It started with his very first film, She's Gotta Have It. Now, even in this clearly low-budget film, Lee's ambition to capture a beautiful and complicated musical sequence during the birthday dance number was emblematic of what he would continue to do and what we would get from him throughout his entire career. The sequence's transition from black and white to color as Nola clicks her heels is an homage to the classic musical The Wizard of Oz. Now, it was rare to see a splashy musical number in the mid-1980s anywhere, and it was even more rare to find a film celebrating black art and artists through a lens of joy rather than struggle or tragedy. And it was not a fluke. Lee's love for musicals grew as his budgets did. His sophomore film School Days was a brilliant look at the divisions that are brewing in a historically black college as seen through the eyes of the fraternities and sororities. Now, it was also a brilliantly choreographed musical that was a throwback to the heyday of the Hollywood studio epics. There were 8 total music numbers in the film, all of which have a shocking level of control and precision for a director with only one feature film to his name. In particular, the hair salon number, Good and Bad Hair, has every bit of the confidence and style of the best musicals of any era. But Lee wasn't satisfied with just capturing the feeling of a classic movie musical. He also had ambitions to show an audience what it felt like to be part of the creation, birth, and performance of music itself. He'd spent his entire life around music due to his father, Bill Lee, the important, influential, award-winning jazz musician and composer who's done so much cool stuff that he honestly deserves his own segment. You can feel the influence of Bill Lee's world and his work on Spike's film Mo Better Blues. It was the 4th and final time that Spike collaborated with his father as his composer, and the movie is a love letter to his father's career. An all-star cast headlined by Denzel Washington shows the daily struggles that musicians endure just to excel at their craft. Now, you're probably thinking, well, how do we know that Spike really liked musicals And he wasn't just a fan of his dad's music. Well, allow me to point you towards Summer of Sam. It is a period piece about the Son of Sam killings in 1977, in which Lee features multiple punk rock songs, including a performance by Jennifer Esposito and Adrian Brody. They sing Hello from the Gutters of New York City, an original song created for the film using the actual writings of the Son of Sam. The jagged, jarring, propulsive punk music is a far cry from the smooth tunes of Mo' Better Blues, but both kinds of songs feel perfectly at home in the films of Spike Lee. But it's not just about the songs themselves, of which Lee has many other examples. It's also about the movement, the dancing. The clearest example is 2000's Bamboozled, a brilliant satire of the way American entertainment feeds off of black artists while simultaneously using their work to caricature and marginalize the black community in general. The immensely talented Savion Glover choreographs the tap dance numbers in this modern musical, and it's a version basically of Network as a musical. Lee also used a dance sequence to open The Sweet Blood of Jesus, which is his reworking of Bill Gunn's 1973 vampire horror film Ganja and Hess. And even in movies that aren't directly musicals, he still infuses them with musicality. In Chi-Raq, which is Lee's modern reinterpretation of the ancient Greek play Lysistrata, he and co-writer Kevin Wilmot literally wrote the entire screenplay in rhyming verse. And in his Netflix original The Five Bloods, there is a moment of pure musical joy as Delroy Lindo, Norm Lewis, Isaiah Whitlock Jr., and Clark Peters own the dance floor as the song Gotta Give It Up plays. And Lee just holds on it. He just watches and moves with them. He lets them have the moment and the space and the rhythm, and it's magical. And that brings me to what truly makes Spike Lee the modern master of the musical. All of Lee's work, his style and his flourishes, they're made up of the best of what musicals can do. He is an artist, and he's not a subtle filmmaker, but here's the thing. Musicals are not an art form of subtlety. In fact, often a musical sequence happens because a character is so overwhelmed with emotion that it's as if the movie senses the dam bursting, and it creates music to give that emotion an outlet. The song is the soul's cry to be heard, and then there is no separation between character and audience anymore. The fourth wall is gone. They are speaking straight to us, and we can't help but hear them. If movies are their own worlds and we are the gods that watch the events from on high, then musical numbers are the prayers that allow these characters to speak directly to us. Spike Lee does this constantly, more than any other filmmaker. Lee lets his characters speak directly to the camera, to the audience, to let us in on the blunt, loud truth. It happens in everything from Clockers to the 25th Hour, Bamboozled to Inside Man. This is Lee embracing that musical tendency to let characters boil over with emotion too strong to be contained by the mundane world that surrounds it. The most beautiful example of this is Radio Raheem in Do the Right Thing, a literal biblical epic, a battle of good and evil, love and hate. He's like a whole Greek chorus backed by the music from his boombox, presenting the themes direct to camera. And speaking of the camera, Lee has learned how powerful a camera can be when it dances gently with the characters on screen. Now, I already mentioned the moment in The Five Bloods and the monologue from Do the Right Thing, but Lee does this over and over, allowing his characters to become untethered from their own reality and connected to the camera, moving in its rhythm. Coleman Domingo in Red Hook Summer, Damon Wayans in Bamboozled, Harvey Keitel in Clockers, Denzel Washington in Mo' Better Blues and Malcolm X. They drift and glide with the camera, similar to the synchronous movement of the long takes of dancers like Gene Kelly in An American in Paris. He doesn't care that this moment breaks the realism of the scene, because realism isn't the greatest power of cinema. Transcendence is. The rare immersive power of visual storytelling that doesn't make you question a moment, it makes you feel it. Just like when a character breaks into song and it doesn't break the reality, it completes the reality. Spike Lee, modern master of the musical. There is nobody doing it better.